I've seen it before. It turns truth into lies. Oh, but I won't back down. I must stay on this road. I gotta know what I'm about. It goes up and turns back down. We're all looking for the moment when getting used to not knowing when all the pieces fall in line. Oh, it goes up and turns back down. Keep searching for signs in my dreams back then. I don't know how to stop, 'cause it brings back the feeling that I
So do you struggle with focus? Do you find it difficult to write, blog, podcast, do social media marketing, set up your website, launch a membership site? I mean, all the stuff that online entrepreneurs are working towards. Do you find it difficult to do it all? If so, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Today's topic is about the 4 focusing habits of successful online entrepreneurs. And I'm going to be diving deep in that today. So welcome. We are here live. We're broadcasting currently in 6 different locations online, wherever you're watching from. Do me a favor and let me know you're here. Put your first name, where you're from, and also, if this is your first time, just put the word new into the chat so we can say hello to you. All right, we already got some chat going on today. We got Phil here from Richmond, Virginia. It says, looking forward to another awesome lesson. My wife Charity is watching over on YouTube, and she is our wonderful moderator to help you with maybe links or things that I say to help you there answer some questions. Awesome. Let's see who else we got here. Phil says, I'm so curious what I see on your desk. Looks like an equalizer or a mixing board. Yeah, it's for the audio, so it's kind of hard for me to position the camera right now. Maybe I can kind of show it. That's what you're talking about. This is a Rode, forget what the name is. Rode Class A servo biased equalizer mixer. It can have up to 4 mics at once. And I've got a podcasting mic that I like to use for podcasting right here. So that's one of the mic setups. And so I'm using a shotgun mic that's just out of view. And yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of the background of the setup. But yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else we got here today. Oh, by the way, Phil says, love the shirt. Coca-Cola versus Pepsi is so the 80s. Yes, do you guys remember that? Coke versus Pepsi, Coke versus Pepsi. It was a rivalry for many, many years, especially in the 80s. I was always more of a Coca-Cola kind of guy, personally. I didn't dislike Pepsi, but if I had to choose, Coca-Cola won out for me. And if you're new here, we do an 80s theme. You probably heard some 80s music that we were playing beforehand, and we've got 80s stuff behind me that you might recognize as well. All right, let's see who else is here. We've got Pamela here from East Tennessee, the Oak Ridge area. Welcome, Pamela. Rich is here from Michigan. David watching from Massachusetts over on YouTube. Welcome, David. Dale's here from Minnesota. Jim hanging out from good old Indiana. Let's see here. Oh, here Marissa. She says hi to Charity and to me. Awesome. Stephanie watching from Middle Georgia. Hello. Well, Stephanie, we're glad that you are here as well. And welcome to everybody else that's here. We are so glad that you're with us. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, here's a little bit more in depth of what you're going to discover hanging out with us today. What an old-fashioned hourglass has to do with increasing your focus. I need to buy one of those big old-fashioned hourglasses. I was thinking about it this morning. How to implement the 4 habits that I'm going to teach you today into a weekly routine. Why focusing on just 4 things actually increases your productivity. It's the opposite of what we think, and so much more. By the way, if you haven't heard, I recently launched a new book. This is a new book available in bookstores everywhere, also on Amazon, but for a limited time, while we have copies available, you can actually get this book for free. Now, this is just for those located in the United States. All we ask is that you cover our shipping and handling charges, and all you got to do is go to marketyourmessage.com/free book. Again, it's marketyourmessage.com/free book. And not only that, but look at all these wonderful people who got their free copy and how excited they are about getting their copy. And so if you're looking for something to read over the Christmas holidays, or you want something to read to kick off the new year, I think this makes a great book to help you, because the book is designed to help you, first of all, discover what is your natural gifts, what's your unique abilities. And once you discover that, how can we connect what you do well to doing an online business, whether that's writing or speaking or coaching, teaching, all of the tools we have available online. That's what this book does. This book walks you through that process. So we help you define or discover your message. And then the second half of the book is all about marketing your message. And then on this show, I like to pull out things from this book. In fact, today, I'm going to be actually diving into chapter number 11 in the book. I'm acting like my old high school teaching days. This is the textbook right here. So some of you have your textbook. If you want to, and you got your textbook handy, you can actually open it up to chapter 11, which is right here. It's all about extraordinary focus leads to success. And I'm going to teach what I call the 4 focusing habits today that's perfect for all types of online entrepreneurs. If you work in this knowledge-based economy, where you take your knowledge, your passion, your skills, and you want to turn it into a business, there's kind of a unique approach that you need to take. And this is something I discovered personally and after observing and watching many successful bloggers and speakers and online entrepreneurs. And then I started applying it to where what I was doing on a weekly basis. And now I want to teach it to you today. So that's what we're going to be talking about today as well. Also, a big announcement. I'm really excited about this, okay? It's the first time I'm revealing this, but I want everybody here to know about this. Next Wednesday for the Market Your Message show is going to be very, very special. It's Wednesday the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, but you're going to want to tune in, and here's why. I'm bringing the Christmas presents for all of you, just as a way of saying thank you for being here. I will be soon, if you're not on the email list, get on the list, but I will be releasing into the email list later this week a link to drop your name into a drawing for a bunch of presents and a bunch of giveaways we're going to do next week. In fact, here it is. Virtual Christmas Party. The Market Your Message Virtual Christmas Party next Wednesday, December 23rd, 1 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to give away some books. So I'm going to give away some autographed, signed copies of books. We're also going to do something really, really fun. I've had Roxanne, my online business manager, set up several, I guess what you could call gift certificates or coupon codes for anything in our online course library. So in our online course library, we have things about blogging, we have courses on podcasting, we have courses on YouTube, we have courses on social media marketing, and we have courses over there that range anywhere from $45 up to $1,000 or $1,200 on our online store. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give away several $100 gift cards where you can go grab whatever training you want on us. Or for some of you, we're actually going to also give away some $500 coupons. These are for some of the larger courses that you're going to be able to get. And these are courses we sell every day on our online store that you're going to get for free. It's as good as getting a $100 gift card or $500 gift card, because you'll be able to apply that coupon code, take that course down from $100 to free, and enjoy it on us. So we'll be giving away, we've tallied it up, around $5,000 in Christmas gifts. All you have to do is enter into the drawing, and next week I'm going to be joined by my wife Charity and my 2 kids, Kayla and Jordan. They're also going to be there. So it's going to be a family festive virtual Christmas party. Again, it's happening next week, and it's going to be on Wednesday, December 23rd, 1 p.m. All you have to do is throw in your name. I will be emailing out the link. We'll also have the link next week while we're on the show. Give people a few minutes to enter in on the show before we start giving away courses and books and maybe even throw in some t-shirts. We'll see. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. So let's see here. All right. So if you're new here, we have kind of 3 parts to our show. The beginning part is engaging and kind of conversing with you. Then is the actual show that's going to be later turned into a podcast and into a YouTube video. And then the after party, hang around for that, because sometimes we do giveaways. A lot of times we answer your questions. So you can throw in your questions. If it's about the show today or about something else, we're going to stick around and answer some of your questions. All right. So glad you guys are here. Charity's excited about the Christmas party. Of course, Terry says, what fun, great ideas. Feels like, wow. That's right. It's going to be a lot of fun as well. Terry says, such a great idea. Way to go, Jonathan. Sounds like a wonderful virtual party. That's right. I think everybody's doing virtual Christmas for the most part this year, depending on where you live, with all that's going on in the world. But we're going to make the most of it, and we're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to want to be here next Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern. All right. So, guys, let's jump into the show today. The 4 focusing habits of successful online entrepreneurs. Are you ready? I am ready. So here we go. Do you have trouble focusing? Do you have trouble with where to spend your time? Do I blog? Do I do social media? What about a membership site? If you feel scattered as an online entrepreneur, good news. Today, I want to teach you the 4 focusing habits of successful online entrepreneurs. Let's get started. Hey messengers, welcome to the Market Your Message Show. I'm your host, Jonathan Milligan, and author of the new book, Your Message Matters: How to Rise Above the Noise and Get Paid for What You Know. And I want to welcome you to today's episode because we're going to be talking about the 4 focusing habits of successful online entrepreneurs. In fact, here's what we're going to discover today. We're going to discover what an old-fashioned hourglass has to do with increasing your focus, how to implement the 4 habits into your weekly routine, why focusing on just 4 things actually increases your productivity, and so much more. But if you're tuning in and you're wondering, how do I get started? I want to blog, coming up. I want to do a podcast. I may want to do YouTube or live stream. Well, the good news is we've put together a guide, and this is where you start. If you're trying to discover your message, we have put together what we call the Discover Your Message Blueprint. This is a 9-page guide that'll walk you through how to discover your purpose, your passion, and your people. The 3 elements you need to discover in order to ignite your message. You can actually get this guide for free by going to marketyourmessage.com/discover. All right, let's get into today's episode. So let's go back in time, maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. I remember one particular week being really, really frustrated, like feeling like I had so many half-done projects. Have you ever been there? You got a little bit of this, you're doing a little bit of that. Nothing's really moving forward. You feel like you're scattered and pulled in a million directions. And I remember thinking, I need to start studying what more successful people are doing. How are they spending their time? Where do they spend the majority of their week? And here's what I discovered. The majority of online entrepreneurs, whether they're bloggers, podcasters, YouTubers, whatever they do, they really fall into 4 types of focusing habits that I want to talk about today. In fact, I put a whole chapter in my brand new book on this topic, chapter 11, about how extraordinary focus leads to success. So what I want to do is, if you're listening on the podcast, I'll do my best to explain it, but I thought it might be helpful to draw on my iPad. And so if you want to actually see this in action, go over to our YouTube channel. Just look up my name, Jonathan Milligan. You'll find our YouTube channel and you can watch this episode. But I'll do my best to describe it if you're listening in on the podcast. So I'm going to pull up my iPad, and this is what I call, it's a teaching tool, what I call the Hourglass Funnel. So I want you to picture one of those old-fashioned hourglasses where you can literally take the hourglass and place it in front of you and turn it over and watch all the grains of sand go from the top down to the bottom, right? We've maybe seen these in board games. You have like a smaller version if you have 60 seconds to do something. Well, I want to use this diagram to actually describe and talk about these 4 focusing habits. So here is focusing habit number 1, and we are going to call it the connect habit. Now, what's the connect habit? What does that represent? The connect habit represents traffic, right? You are connecting with your ideal audience and you are bringing them into your fold and bringing them into your world. And in the book, I actually talk about, and we spent an entire chapter on this connect habit, where I talk about the only 3 types of traffic. There's free, paid, and partner. So there's free, there's paid, there's partner. And we've had separate videos where we go deep into each of these. But ideas of free traffic would be like when you do blogging. What are you doing? You're attracting people through the Google search engine, where people are finding you, or you advertise, or you not advertise, but you push out on social media free posts out on social media that draw people back towards you. So free, paid is like the paid ads that you pay for, and partner is partnering up with other people in your niche that can point traffic to the things that you're up to. And so that's the first one, is part of your week needs to be thinking about, what am I doing to promote my business? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like promoting myself. And here's the truth. There's really only 2 ways to promote your business. You either promote yourself or you promote your content, right? And so by promoting your content, you make it easier on yourself. And the reason you make it easier on yourself is because now it's not all about, hey, come check out my stuff, come check out my stuff. Instead, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I created something of value. I want you to come check that out. And that brings me to the second habit, which is the create habit. Now, this is why I am so passionate about this particular topic. Create is about creating the free value, the free content. And here's what I find is there are a lot of online entrepreneurs that just go straight for the sell. It's all about add, push people to buy, and then a certain percentage are going to buy. And yes, you can build a business that way, but I doubt whether they become longtime customers. Because what kind of value or investment are you putting into people? And this is why I'm so passionate about this part, because one of our values at my company is to out-teach the competition. That's simply a value that I want to hold. That's why I produce live stream shows. It's why I do blogging. It's why I have also a podcast show and a YouTube channel. And why we put content on all of these platforms is simply, it makes it easier for me. Instead of promoting myself, I'm just promoting free, valuable, good content. And so think about the hourglass being open at the top, and the grains of sand that are inside of an hourglass represent the people that you are trying to attract to your business. And by connecting to them, by saying, hey, come and check out this blog post, listen to this podcast, watch this video, you're bringing them into your world, to the top of the hourglass. And again, some of my favorite free content to create, I would say, is a blog, podcast, YouTube, or live stream. So those are the 4 ways that you can connect with your ideal audience. And we have all of these tools that are free and available to us. You don't have to do all of it, but start somewhere. Start with a blog, or start with a podcast, start with creating YouTube videos, start with doing a weekly live stream show on Facebook. But give value, help people with free content. It brings them into your world. But if we were to stop there, I would call it a hobby. That's a hobby. If that's all you did, that's a hobby, right? You're telling people about stuff that you're creating and they're seeing what you create, but it's all free. Here's where everything changes. And this is the 3rd habit. And this is so important that it's at the very, very middle part of this whole equation. And that is the capture habit. Notice it is on the skinny part of the hourglass. And the reason why is I want you to picture we're bringing people into our world. They're coming down through the hourglass funnel. And then what we're doing is we're capturing them on a list. This represents your email list. If you are going to survive as a business, you have to have leads. You have to have leads coming into your business, right? You have to have fresh new leads. And again, I spent a whole chapter in my book on the capture habit and how I go about building my email list, how I collect new prospects on my list. And then that leaves us to the last one, the very, very bottom, which is the compile habit. Now, this is where we want to bring people, once they get on our list, we want to bring them down to the bottom part of our funnel. And what does compile represent? Compile represents you packaging your knowledge and experience into products and services. Compile is all about your income streams. And in the book, I talk about, in the chapter on compile, I actually talk about the 12 income streams that any messenger can create. So I label you as a messenger if you've got something to say or something to give or sell. And so whether you want to write, teach, speak, or coach, you are a messenger. You're trying to provide transformation in the lives of other people, right? So there are 12 income streams. We've talked about these on other episodes of the Market Your Message show, but I wanted you to see the big picture here. So here's the thing. This right here represents over 98% of my work week. So let's see here. Trying to give me a little bit more room on my iPad since I'm doing this live, but we'll work with it. We're gonna fix it. So let's actually go down here because I want to show you something right now. So how do you apply this? How can you actually take what I just shared and apply it to what you're doing? So let me give you a few examples. So it's very simple. What if we were to take out a piece of paper, and I want you to just draw 4 boxes. So maybe you've got, basically you've got a box for each of these focusing habits. And what you can do is at the beginning of your week, maybe it's a Saturday, maybe it's a Sunday, what I want you to do is I want you to sit down and think, what's one thing I can work on this week in this core area? Because this is what makes your business go. You have to be able to create free content. So write down create on a piece of paper and say, okay, what am I going to do this week? Am I going to publish a blog post? Am I going to record a podcast? I've got to do something to create free value, which then makes it easier to figure out what am I going to promote, right? So now the create habit says, what are we going to promote? And we got to have something we've created. So if we publish a blog post, now we can go out on social media and share the new blog post we've created. Then I want you to think about, okay, what could I do this week? What's one thing I can do to capture people on my email list? Maybe I need to create a new lead magnet, something that people will want to get on my email list. And then finally, compile. What is one thing you are working on that's going to create revenue in your business? Just one thing. Maybe you're working on a book. Give yourself time in that week to work on the book. Maybe you're working on an online course that you want to put together. Whatever it is, you need to know the 4 most important things, because here's what'll happen. If you're not intentional about what your 4 things are and have them in each of these areas, you're going to be distracted. The next shiny object's going to come along. You're going to go down this rabbit hole, and we all know what it's like. We come out of it, we've learned a bunch of stuff, but we haven't taken any action. As an online entrepreneur, you have to learn the hard work of knowing and understanding that you have to do the work. You have to wear 2 hats. You're either the boss hat or you're the worker hat, right? You're the worker bee and you're the boss. And we can't just play boss where we're just learning and strategizing and planning and thinking. No, sometimes we got to become the worker bee in our business. We got to say, what new thing am I going to create that's going to create free value? What am I going to work on this week that's going to help me get more email subscribers? What am I going to do to push and promote something out there to tell people about something new I created? And what am I working on that's actually going to create money or revenue in my business? So I hope that gives you some very specific thoughts and tactics. And here's the truth. If you will do this, you will see yourself work less but get more done. In fact, I try to live and work in these 4 areas. And even certain days are devoted just to one of these 4 focusing habits. And when I started implementing this 6 or 7 years ago, I instantly began to see a compounding effect where momentum was beginning to happen. I was getting more people on my email list. I was launching more things for my customers to buy. I was more consistent in creating and writing and publishing blog posts. And that will happen for you. So again, if you're not sure where to get started, I want to encourage you, before you go grab the guide. This is our 9-page guide. This is the perfect place to start. If you're like, I don't even know where to start in all this, grab our Discover Your Message Blueprint. Just go to marketyourmessage.com/discover. And also, I'd like to know, what topics would you like for me to cover in future episodes? Let me know. And always remember, your message matters. All right. So now we're in the after party. As you can see, I was having some difficulty there with some of what I was doing on my iPad. you can kind of see behind the scenes here. One of the things that happened here is my logo wasn't on there like it was supposed to be. Because you got your logo here. Let's see. Move that off. I have, in fact, let me show you what I'm doing, because you're probably like, what are you doing? I'll give you a behind the scenes for a second. And by the way, I want to answer your questions for the next little bit. So let me know your questions. Put in your questions. Just put the capital letter Q wherever you're watching from. And let me show you behind the scenes here. Options, live demo mode. Turn on live demo mode. Okay, and here's what my screen looks like. Now, one of the things that I was messing with is, let's see if I can bring up one of these here. And desktop. So I have a folder of graphics, and here's what you do. I have some picture-in-picture. And what you can do is actually drag and drop it. Let's try this again. Why is this not dragging and dropping? Or you can do it another way, which is overlays, new image overlay. It's going to pull up a box for you to add. We're going to go to market your message. We've got picture-in-picture overlays. Boom, add it. And there you go. So then I want to have my logo on top. So that should have been on here. So I'm just showing you guys behind the scenes. This is a little bit what I was doing before the show. But for some reason, it didn't show that logo. And let's actually shrink that logo down. Let's pull it over here. I've got a white version of my logo. And then it goes right there. So there you go. That's what, and you can also mess with the camera. So you can see the camera there. I can move it around a little bit, or say, you know what, I want to zoom out just a little. I'm going to move it just like that. And then of course I've got it connected to my iPad. So my iPad's right here. And that's what I'm broadcasting and showing. So maybe you found that cool. I don't know. So, all right, let's get out of live demo mode here and let me pull up your questions. And let's answer some questions. And I'm going to pull back to full screen as well. All right. Phil says, love this. It's more important to get things done than to just be extremely busy. Yes, that's so important. You know, actually being intentional about your time, because I don't know if you figured this out, depending on your journey and talking to everybody here, but there is always something to learn and there's always something to spend your time on. But is it the best use of your time? Is it actually moving the needle? Is it helping you move forward in one of those 4 areas? And that's the other thing, is I use anything that pops up as an opportunity filter. Is this going to help me connect with more people? Is this going to help me create more value? Will this help me capture more leads? And will this help me compile more products and services for me to sell? If it doesn't answer one of those 4 questions, it's a complete waste of time. And it needs to solidly be able to answer that. And a lot of times I'll think about it on a scale of 1 to 10. If my answer is, well, I would say it's a 6 out of 10, then it's not good enough. It needs to be like a 9 or a 10 answering any of those 4 questions. Beth said, I need to have a large room with a sheet of paper for each habit with reminders of what I'm doing. So much to learn. Thanks for the roadmap. Yeah, you can apply this in lots of ways. There's been times where I've felt like I've been derailed in my week, like I'm just not as productive as I want to be, and I'll go over to my whiteboard and I'll draw 4 boxes. Create, capture, compile, connect. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing to create free value? Am I connecting out there with new people in any way? What am I working on, or what should I be working on that's going to help me capture more leads in my business? And am I working on anything to sell? I don't know how many times this has happened, and it may seem kind of funny, but it's very, very true. This has happened, what I'm about to say has happened more times than not. I'll have people come to me and they'll say, Jonathan, I'm not making any money blogging, or I'm not making money podcasting. And then I will ask them a very simple question. If I go to your website right now, could I, with a credit card in hand, so let's say I pull out my credit card, I've got my credit card in hand, I go to your website, can I buy something? If the answer is no, you're not open for business yet. So either stop putting the pressure on yourself to be like, I'm not making money, I'm not making money. That's kind of an unfair question if you're not at that place yet where you've created something like a course or a book to sell or coaching that you want to offer, something, whatever that is, membership site. Don't put unfair pressure on yourself if you're just not there yet. And if you're not there yet, what are you working on specifically in the compile habit area to have something for sale, right? And maybe that should be a focus for some of you going into the new year. Like the first 90 days, I'm going to have something for sale. Even if it's just putting up a coaching page that people can buy time from me. Or I'm going to publish a Kindle book, so I have something up for sale. Or I'm going to launch an online course. So that being able to have those 4 focusing habits can really help you to get very, very clear on how to spend your week. And I hope that helps. Phil did a good synopsis here. He says, is this the correct summation? Connect, promote your free material, create, capture your, or create your free material, capture, build your email list, and 4, compile, package your knowledge. You got it. Like those are the 4 things. And seriously, this will help you of what to say yes to and what to say no to. And whatever you pick, you need to see that thing through to completion, because here's the other thing. And I think this comes out because we doubt ourselves. What often happens is we'll start that book and then we'll abandon that book because maybe we should be doing an online course. And then we start putting together, working on, researching how to do an online course. And then we say, no, maybe I should have a coaching page. And then we kind of have a half-done coaching page that we never publish. And what happens is we have all these broken bridges in our business and nothing's working for us. So when you choose something, you need to see it through to completion. Okay? So very important. All right. Let's see. What are the questions you guys have today? Beth says, question, I'm not open yet, but how do you create for services like writing, editing, proofreading? Yeah, so this would be like a work with me page is what a lot of people do. So what you want to do is on your main website, you want to have somewhere at the top, you've got your blog, link to your blog in your navigation bar. You've got your about page, contact. Then you need to have a work with me. And when we click on that work with me, you've got a couple of options. One option is you can list out the services that you provide and then say schedule a 30-minute call, like a discovery call. And we'll help tailor to you what you need. So that's one option. The second option is to actually just put your packages and your pricing out there. I've done both, and I would encourage you to experiment with both. And by putting your packages and services, it's like, here's how much for ghostwriting. Here's how much for me to do editing and proofreading. Here's my services laid out. You buy a package, then do a call, so I know what you need for the project, and then I'll go do the work for you. So that's exactly how you do it. And what's cool about starting with a Work With Me page is you can get that up in no time. It was one of the first things I did with my first blog on career coaching for accounting and finance professionals is I put a Work With Me page up, put a PayPal button in there, and said, buy a half hour of my time or buy an hour of my time. Here's what that cost. And people started buying time from me. And that's where I started. And then over time, of course, things developed further along. Good question. All right. Pamela, this is a long question, but we'll try to tackle this. Yes, I'm at the point of info overload for too many different sources. I hope it's good to do what I'm doing. Unsigning from text, emails from all but 3 upline businesses. I still read many books. Oops, let me bring it back on. Sorry about that. I still read many books, but I need to get started and stop trying to wait until I know enough. Yes. In fact, I talk about this in the introduction of my book because that's where I was. I had spent 9 months doing nothing. And in fact, this is what I said at the very, very beginning. And maybe this will resonate with you. This is literally what I said. I said 9 months later, I had nothing to show for it. I read every business book, watched every online video, bought every course that I thought could help, but I had 0 results. I had done all the research, but I felt stuck and unsure as to what to do next. Have you been there? You decide to go hard after your dreams and you end up drowning in a sea of information instead. That's what happened to me. Paralysis by analysis had set in. For months, I thought a little bit more information was the secret to unlocking my success. If I knew everything, I couldn't fail, right? Wrong. The fact is, learning's important, but it often gives us a false sense of progress. No one can ever learn their way to results in life. And that hard reality was now settling in. And so maybe it sounds like, I think that was Pamela, that's where you are right now. You are exactly where I was, where you're consuming information and it almost feels like progress. And I'm not saying learning's a terrible thing because I didn't know how to do anything until I started learning how to do it. But at some point you have to realize that learning's not enough. Learning doesn't equal results. Learning plus action equals results. And so what I started doing was balancing my learning with my action. And so if I spent an hour learning something, I had an agreement with myself that I had to also be willing to take 1 hour of action on that thing. And for some of you that are listening, maybe you're a little lopsided on the learning. It needs to be 1 for 1. If you're going to spend an hour learning this thing, you have to be willing to spend an hour on action. Even if it's clumsy, even if it feels like you're not doing it right, you're at least attempting to get results. A mentor once told me this, and I've never forgotten it. The goal in this online business is one of 2 objectives. You either are maximizing revenue or you're maximizing learning. What's that mean? That means by taking action, you actually learn what worked, what didn't work. What could I do different? What would I do this next time to make it better? The only way to maximize learning is by doing it, not just having the knowledge up here. And so I hope that helps. Okay. Gwen's got a question. When sharing what you are creating to get more followers, how many days do you put between posting the same info on different platforms? This is a great question, Gwen, and here's the big secret. This is the secret that a lot of people Don't know. It's all about changing up what you're saying. So, for example, let's say I publish a blog post this week on how to launch a membership site. Well, once I put it out there on social media, the average person, the average marketer says, I don't want to bug people by keep putting that out there. But here's the thing. Why not switch it up? Why not instead take a quote from the blog post and now you tweet out or you put on Facebook a quote and then say read more with the link to that blog post? Why not change the wording of whatever you're saying, right? So maybe you take a quote, maybe you share a different image. The point is, as long as it doesn't look like the same thing, it's not going to annoy people. And then the other thing you have to remember is something known as the spotlight effect. This is kind of a psychological phenomenon that most of us don't realize. The spotlight effect is simple. People aren't paying as close attention to you as you think. So I used to think this when I send out an email and then I think I can't send out more than one email a week. Well, if only 20% of people are opening my email, 80% of people didn't see the email. They're not paying as close attention to me as I think, right? In fact, here's proof. This week I've been sending emails to my list saying, hey, get your free book. And I'm still getting orders. I've been saying this. Many of you know I launched my book back in October 20th. I'm still seeing from my email list people buying their book. Well, Jonathan, you've already sent out like 20 emails. They weren't the same 20 emails. They were mixed up with different stories. But that proves the point. People aren't paying as close attention to us as we think. What that means for us marketers is that we can share and push more than we think we can because they're just not paying that close attention. Hope that helps. Awesome. All right, guys. So, hey, we're going to wrap things up. I want to get some takeaways from you, unless you got one last minute question here. What questions do you have? Let me know. If not, we do something here. It's a lot of fun at the end of our show. We read off the single biggest takeaway. It's just a great way to consolidate all of the learning we've done today and down into a single action that you can walk away with. So what do you have? Put the capital letter T. We call it capital letter T. When I played basketball, that was like a technical or a timeout. So we're using it as a takeaway, capital letter T for takeaway. I'm going to read off some. So go ahead and post them in there, and I'll read off a few, and then we will wrap things up today. All right. Terry says, 1-to-1, learning to action. So she likes that balancing learning with action as her takeaway. Phil says, focus on the 4 C's. Yep, you've got it now. You've got the plan. It's very simple. Pull out a piece of paper, and you can even do it right now to help you finish off this week strong. Say, what's one thing I could do in the create habit, connect habit, capture habit, compile habit? You got it. I love Pamela's takeaway. Do something. That's right. In fact, I hear from a lot of people, especially now that I've been doing some podcast interviews, that people are always taken back by the first sentence in my book. And it's a quote from me that says, I'm just ready to go fail at something. And that was the conclusion that I came to after months and months and months of learning and taking no action. I said, you know what? Doing something and failing will probably not feel as bad as continuing to do nothing. And boy, I'm so glad that I made that switch in my mind. And I hope you guys do as well. David's, he's got just C. That's right. I try to make it easy to remember. Connect, capture, compile, and connect. Or compile, connect, create, capture, and compile. Dale's success is the result of developing the 4 key habits. Yes. For sure. Beth says dividing time with the hourglass. I have too many more takeaways. Okay, awesome. Oh, she's this. I'm not sure who this is. Just says Facebook user, but it says Terry took my thoughts, so I will go with get the writing mindset. Awesome. So one last time, don't miss next week. Okay, next Wednesday, 1 o'clock. I'm gonna have my whole family here. So if you ever want to meet my wife and my 2 kids, they will be here live next week with me, and we are doing the virtual Christmas party. Wednesday, December 23rd, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. We're calling it the $5,000 free giveaway. We're going to give away books. We are going to give away coupons, or you could call them gift cards for courses. I'm going to be giving away $100 coupons. I'm going to give away $500 coupons that you can use in our online store. Awesome. So that's it for today. Oh, Gwen had a takeaway. I'm going to hit your takeaway and then we'll wrap it up. Tweet out a quote from my blog and link them back to my blog, something I've never done even once. I've done it on Facebook, not Twitter. Awesome. Perfect. All right. So gang, thanks for being here today. If it's your first time, I hope you'll come back. Visit us again every Wednesday, 1 o'clock, the Market Your Message show, and we'll see you next week at our virtual Christmas party. See you then. Bye-bye.